Hello, everyone. Let me introduce myself first of all. So my name is Lila Glazova, and I'm Managing Director of PR News. We are a communication research company in Russia. And today I'm very happy to introduce you our partner and colleague from Pressrelations Group, Romina Gersuni. And Romina, thank you very much that you kindly agreed to participate in our interview. Romina is a press relations global strategy manager, and she has more than 12 years of experience in media intelligence industry. I suppose that now it's more than 15, I suppose, definitely. Romina is also so she has been a part of press relations when she consolidated the company's software business division. So she knows everything about technology, I suppose, in this area of the market. So when we talk about media mentoring, media analysis, media measurement, she can tell us everything, I suppose. And Romina is also a vice president of International Association FIBAB that we all love a lot. So yes, that's a very important place that she has, and she plays an important role in our professional community of media mentoring and media analysis. So Romina, thank you very much. And we are ready to start. And my first question will be about everything that goes to automatic media monitoring systems. So what are the main aspects in developing the modern media monitoring systems? And I know that Press Relation has a great experience in that. So how Press Relation is achieving its leadership, because you are one of the leaders at that market, and what is the biggest advantage? Please share.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for all of your kind words in the introduction. I hope I can live up to this to this reputation that you gave me. So just to go into your question, in organizational development, we tend towards principle of Scrum and Kanban in order to quickly introduce optimizations into our projects and software solutions. We rely on flight hierarchies, agile work structures, and interdisciplinary project-specific work with our customers and product development teams. Because in order to create state-of-the-art technology, one of the things that is particularly important to us is that the customer is at the center of our organization, which always guarantees that our solutions satisfy their needs. So in a nutshell, the main aspects to consider for us are client-specific centric approach, agile structures and flexibility, interdisciplinary project teams, hybrid working methods, and a cross-media approach. As for the second part of your question, we have always been technology-driven. There is no process, no measure that we have not improved through the sensible use of technology. So we employ our own in-house development team, who in turn drive the further development of our tools, portals, and formats in agilely organized teams in order to achieve particularly good user experience. Generating like this, the biggest advantages. And it means that we work with as much automation as possible, but also with as much human intelligence as necessary for the success of our software solutions. Our principle is to combine sophisticated technology with human expertise to provide our customers with exactly the results that they need for the daily work. So this would be the approach that we take. And this is what has been working for us up to now.
Romina, it's always a question about this combining human approach and technology. Is it difficult inside the company to make it work?
Honestly, not really, because we Press Relations is actually also turning 20 years old this year. So we are also celebrating very soon. We will invite you then.
Congratulations and thank you for invitation.
Thank you. And it has been always a growth process for us within the organization. So we of course started as a little bit of a startup, like just three smart guys, getting together and trying to work with crawling infrastructures back in 2001 when nobody was really doing that. And, like they started from that point from 3 people up to the point where we are at now, which is 200 employees and 12 locations worldwide. I mean, this is quite a big development over the years, and therefore we learned by doing, and of course we did a lot of errors on the way, and this is actually the way you learn. So at this point, it's not difficult anymore.
My congratulations again on your 20 years anniversary, and it sounds to be easy. I can imagine it was not so easy of that 20 years.
No, no, it wasn't.
But you inspired us a lot, definitely. So my next question is about customer experience, and I'm talking more about this, digital customer experience. We know this old type of the customer who was reading its newspapers, clippings in print format, and I know that you work mostly on this new era of customers. So how was it? How has customers' behavior changed? Maybe pandemic helped, maybe not. So please share your thoughts on that point.
So as we know, the implementation of information and communication technologies around the world at a fast rate has brought a profound structural and cultural change to communication departments, with activities transiting into the digital economy, where digital technologies are the basis for new roles and requirements and processes and even business models. We notice that when it comes to the experience of the users, the companies at this point need not only faster digital analysis tools and data, but also different ways of displaying and visualizing this data. And I would dare to say that this is not due to the pandemic, but it was actually accelerated by it. Therefore, our content focus and topic accents in the recent years included the early detection of multiplayers, trends, and topics with special research methods that allowed the concept of proof to plan, and this is reflected within the corporate newsroom. So we on top of all of this, that it might sound a bit I don't know, out of this planet, we work with fake news detection. This specifically in cooperation with News Cards and the Fraunhofer Institute for this purpose. I mean, it's no news to anyone, I guess, that there is a huge infodemic that we are suffering until these misleading types of information, and this is why we decided to give our users, the online users in this case, a little bit of digital competency. And this is actually quite important for them to be able to make their own decisions based on the data that they are looking at. And finally, we have been also working with, of course, automated coding and topic and sentiment, which in the past was kind of the big buzz thing, working with automation. Now it is kind of a commodity. So we still do that, of course. But I think it's more important to work into the, as I said, the newsroom culture and everything that has to do with disinformation and fake news.
Can you tell a little bit more about this project with fake news detection? Some maybe small information where our audience can read about it more, because I can tell you that in our market, the situation is different, and we don't have, unfortunately, some good solutions for fake news detection. That's why, yes, I'm interested how it's at your market, and what are you doing, and what is the success?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's my pleasure. So what happened is that we, well, let's say last year, on the top of the wave of the disinformation and the elections in the US and so on and so forth. I mean, this is nothing that, I mean, if you haven't been living underneath a stone, you have heard of it, basically. So we made a partnership with NewsCard, and NewsCard is a company that basically creates ratings for news sources online, and these ratings are created by deep analysis of the source. It's not an automated rating. It's actually specialist journalists looking at the specific publication and actually giving it a rating. And this rating, basically what it indicates is whether or not the information published in that paper is in general trustworthy or not. So there are several different qualification processes in that way. There, I would recommend you to go to NewsGuard to have a look at the description of the full methodology. So basically what they do is creating these ratings. And what we did with them and the Fraunhofer Institute is basically to integrate these scores into our tools and portals. And basically when the end client receives an article, he will also see the score applied to the article. So he can then understand, okay, this article came in this publication, and generally speaking, this is a trustworthy or not trustworthy publication. So it's up to me as a person to make my own decision, my own judgment, and to choose whether or not to believe what I'm reading, maybe even to go into further, let's say, research on my own if I don't trust it. And from the communication side, and maybe from the advertisement side of the business, why is this relevant? Well, if you consider, I mean, there have been several studies. Just talking about the success of it. There have been several studies in the recent months referring to the fact that companies that have been publicating in unreliable sources, yeah, and they have been maybe advertising, they had a lower success rate than those that publicated in sources that have a highest rating. It actually matches. It's not that they did it specifically looking at the ratings, they did it on their own. But if you look at these campaigns, you will immediately notice that those that publicated in trustworthy data and media, they got a better result in the end, and return on investment if you want. So this is one example. Another example can be clearly seen let's say in the report that we did for the US elections. I mean, if you guys are interested, you can of course get into Pressrelations website, and there you can actually download it for free. There are several reports that you can have a look, and there you can see all of the analysis that we did driven by this data. And it's actually quite interesting to see what was the effect on the polls for the election process based on the relevancy and the trustworthiness of the publications in which the candidates were doing their campaigning, including social media, print, radio, TV, and so on and so forth, and from all sides of the media. So it's not that we are only on the center, on the right, on the left. We look at everybody. So we want to give, as I said, media competency to the user. It's up to them to choose what they believe on.
Romina, it sounds so great. For me, it's like ideal world with this trustworthy scoring of publications and articles, and that would be ideal world for me and for my dad, you know. So if it works, it will be good. And yes, not only just for professional community, first of all, of course, for the society and just typical readers of all the information. So thank you very much for sharing. And yes, thank you very much for this proposal. We will share the links on these reports you are talking about, so our listeners and participants can read about it. Thank you very much. And I'm going to my last question to you, but I think to my point of view, the most interesting one, because we will talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about the future of our industry, of media analysis, media measurement, media monitoring. So I'm interested, how's Pressrelations is dealing with this analysis? I know that you have some thoughts, ideas, and products even on predictive analysis. So if you don't mind, please share your cards.
Yes, absolutely. I'd be happy to. So I would like to start by briefly explaining what are we doing on the field of predictive analysis. So we, a few years back, we launched an analysis method that is called First Signals in partnership at the time with the Handelsblatt, which is the largest newspaper here in Germany. And First Signals is a strategic communication planning aid that helps identify new progressive topics that might become trending topics in the near future. So these progressive topics, or topic capitals, as we like to call them, come as a result of a thoughtful combination combination of media databases, cutting edge AI-powered crawler technologies, and targeted search strings that turn topic tracking into a scorecard of trend indicators that are then sorted out in 7 different topic containers. So if I talk about these topic containers, just to give you a little bit of an overall understanding, we're talking about new business and technology paradigms, finance and banking, consumer culture and lifestyle, mobility and urbanism, health and lifestyle, government, society and macroeconomy, energy and environment. So what we do is basically apply this methodology to identify again, topic capitals, and we say topic capitals here because they might become the big next thing, because it's just at the beginning of the wave, if you want. So in this case, to identify the main topic capitals for the media intelligence industry, our go-to container, and since we are of course talking about technology and so on, would be new business and technology paradigm. And as a result, in a few moments, I will name you a few samples of topics that even as an expert in the field, you might have not heard of before. And these are topics like new generation media, which have been out there for a while now, so you might know this one. Audio-based social media, doom surfing, and digital dark age, for instance. I mean, it sounds a little bit like a video game, but it's not. When we talk about this, I will say that media and digitization are in a permanent state of flux. And one of the major advances, for example, is 5G technology. There will be major developments in the future of media, and this is what we call next generation media. Well, we don't call it, but let's say we identify it as next generation media. If we instead of messages, if we talk about audio-based social media, here we refer to platforms that use audio as their primary communication way instead of images of text, text. Audio apps like Clubhouse, for example, that use conversation rooms, voice messages, podcasts, and more to avoid screen fatigue. This is audio-based social media, and which is also related to a less charming topic capital, because now we were talking about maybe new technology and new media types, and then we were talking about audio-based social media, talking about cool stuff like Clubhouse. There is something called doom surfing, which is on the web, or doom scrolling on the phone. And this describes the act of relentlessly gathering of news and information regarding upsetting topics like the COVID pandemic. The doom scroller seeks out on virtual rabbit holes that lead him down dark path of information, even though doing so affects him negatively. So this is, for example, I don't know if it ever happened to you. It's very, very easy to fall into this. You're reading an article about maybe an accident, or maybe about the crisis in South Africa right now, or I don't know, Cuba or whatever, and you just start reading and reading and reading. You get lost into all of this. And this tendency, this way of acting, received this name of doom surfing and doom scrolling. And the same happened years back when someone named the grooming issue, right? So when someone gets behind a fake ID on let's say a social media platform to basically get hold of young people that are innocent, and like take them through not so nice paths. So maybe this one is a new tendency that is arising. And finally, again, not in the nicest path of let's say topic capitals, I mentioned the digital dark age. And this is because lately racism and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories are on the rise on the media. And this has led the magazine Weird to ask if a digital dark age is upon us. And this is how, someone gives a name, and this name might be taken by others. It becomes like it's catchy, and basically this digital dark age is because the myths that are referring to anti-Semitic or racist theories are mainly being spread on social media, but have impacts in all aspects of society. Famous examples for these trends are the QAnon movement in the US, as well as the Pizzagate. So this basically, these conspiracy theories are born in the media, and then you end up invading the Capitol in the US. Like, it's almost unbelievable. That's why I was saying it sounds like a virtual reality, but it's really not. And so by saying all of this, hopefully I have achieved the so-called aha effect on one hand here, and on the other, the opportunity for you to look at these progressive topics and decide whether or not to make them your own and integrate them in your own strategic communication moving forward. And why do I say this? Because clearly these are topics that just out in the blue, maybe you see, what am I supposed to do with this, right? But on the other hand, you might position yourself and your communication in order to speak for or against one of these specific phenomenons, and even to become the voice of the industry, or even become, let's say, the first mover creating solutions for one of these issues on the digital side of the media intelligence. So, for example, just like the topic of fake news, now it's in the mouth of everybody. At some point, it was born just like these examples that I mentioned. So, what we did, for example, was taking the topic of fake news, which was not new, and we tried to make it our own, integrated it into our own strategic communication, and this translated also into products and software solutions. So this is what happens with these topic capitals. It is up to you to take them and to apply them not only to strategic communication, but moving forward to everything that you do related to that specific topic.
It's an interesting aspect, because now I definitely have an effect, because I was thinking only about strategic communication, then this trustworthy communication that now every company has to have it with the audience. Yes, and yes, of course, the company now has to have the position on all of those topics, and it's better to get prepared in advance, so to know that the topic is coming and we need to have our position on it. Let's prepare, even as anti-crisis, as crisis communications too. And for the product development, it's an interesting approach. It's a new approach to me. And yes, you so easily explained it on example of fake news at your company. So I can imagine that and can believe that it can be useful to different clients from different markets and different segments. Yes, to these topics to be used and done. I can tell you that we don't have such a product in the Russian market. So yes, it sounds very interesting, and I hope that our audience will look more into it and find it interesting too.
I mean, for sure, you can have a look at, as I said before, you can have a look at our website. You can find also examples of first signals reports to have a look at this. I mean, again, First Signals is not a traditional, let's say, type of report or analysis. It doesn't look at the trends in the long run. It actually tries to identify these progressive topics even before they become big trends. So that's why some of them might actually succeed and some of them might not. But this is why we call them topic capitals, because it's a little bit like the stock market. You can choose whether or not to invest in this topic to make it your own and to apply it. And it gives you, as a communication representative, the opportunity to become the first mover in your market with such a topic. Or, for example, and sorry, I just want to give you another idea on this, or for example, give you the possibility, if you are having a crisis, let's say you got really bad reputation because you have been, I don't know, doing some sort of development that was affecting the environment, and you got a really bad reputation, and then you identify with First Signals a new trending topic talking about maybe something positive. Let's say, I don't know, just to give you a very silly example, hybrid cars or electric cars or something like this, that would help you revert this negative position in terms of environmental topics. So if this would be a new topic, you could decide to take it, to make it your own, to start talking about it because nobody knows it, and say how good it is and how good it will be. And of course, then you have to, to really go with it. So as I said, it affects initially your strategic communication, but it can go all the way because it will affect then the products that you have to develop to live up to the standard of your value proposition. So this is kind of the big spectrum of what it can be done if you choose right. But it's the same in the stock market.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation. And, gives me a thought on our research about memes or memes. We can call it both ways, I know. And yes, it's the same way that we are the PR professionals choose which topic or which meme, yes, to support, to develop if we need it to be developing. So yes, it's not only just look at that dynamic, but also maybe manage that dynamic in some way. Yes, as a strategic, when we talk about strategic communication. So yes, thank you very much, Romina, again for this very interesting discussion. You shared a lot, and we will add all the interview with the links, so yes, everyone can look at it in more detailed way. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
You too. Thank you very much, and I hope you get to celebrate many more anniversaries in the future to come.
Thank you. You too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.